Coming in at 10, Justin Bieber. Back in March of this year, Justin Bieber took to Instagram to inform his fans that he was stepping away from creating music. I quote, "So I read a lot of messages saying you want an album. I've toured my whole teenage life and early 20s. I realized, as you guys probably saw, I was unhappy last tour, and I don't deserve that and you don't deserve that. You pay money to come and have a lively, energetic, fun, light concert, and I was unable emotionally to give you that near the end of the tour. I'm now focused on repairing some of the deep-rooted issues that I have, as most of us have, so that I don't fall apart, so that I can sustain my marriage and to be the father I want to be." He goes on to state that he will be back with a kick-ass album, implying that this is just a temporary hiatus, but as of now, the most we have seen of him is when he was featured on Ed Sheeran's latest single, I Don't Care. Justin's last album, Purpose, was released all the way back in 2015, although he did appear as a guest on other tracks following that. He is currently married to Hailey Baldwin, with the pair living in both LA and Ontario, Canada. Coming in at 9, Vanilla Ice. All the way back in 1989, rapper Vanilla Ice released his debut album Hooked before going on to release his best-known hit, Ice Ice Baby, in 1990, which gave him his 15 minutes of fame. However, during his short career, Ice had some legal issues. Well, a lot. On August 8, 1988, Ice was arrested in South Dallas for illegal drag racing. In 1990, he was threatened with copyright infringement for use of samples from Under Pressure by Queen and David Bowie. Then, on June 3, 1991, he was arrested in LA on firearm charges after threatening a homeless man with a pistol. Then again, in January 2001, Ice was arrested by police in Florida for assaulting his wife, and then again on April 10, 2008. Finally, in February 2015, Ice was arrested and charged with residential burglary and grand theft after he allegedly stole furniture, a pool heater, bicycles, and other items from a Florida home that he believed to be vacant. Yeah, it's a lot. It may shock a lot of you to know that Ice is now a real estate investor and home innovator, realizing that selling off property got him a heck lot of money instead of, breaking the law. Coming in at 8, Jonathan Bennett. Jonathan Bennett shot to fame when he starred as Aaron Samuels in the smash hit comedy Mean Girls back in 2004. He went on to star in a handful of somewhat successful flops before seemingly disappearing. It was a bizarre absence considering Bennett had easily won over most of the female league with his good looks and dopey smile. However, it seems as though acting wasn't his passion. As of right now, you can find Jonathan Bennett in your local gym where he's a spin class instructor. Shocking, I know, but just take a look at this adorable picture. Coming in at 7, Shane McDermott. Shane McDermott was a popular child actor back in the early 90s, appearing in works such as The Babysitter's Club, Swan's Crossing, Law & Order, All My Children as Scott Chandler, and of course Airborne. However, as quickly as the actor broke into the industry, he very quickly left, opting to attend school and study acting at the Neighborhood Playhouse in New York City. The actor has explicitly stated that he has no desire to return to acting, stating, "It was time to move on. I wanted a family and simpler life. This I found in Galveston, Texas." As of 2019, McDermott is a realtor in Texas and is happily married with 2 children. Coming in at 6, Amanda Bynes. Amanda Bynes first hit our screens when she starred in her self-titled show The Amanda Show, which was comprised of short skits for young kids in a very SNL-style format. We knew all the way back in the 90s that Amanda was going to be huge, and that she was. For a while anyway. The actress went on to star in All That, What a Girl Wants, She's the Man, and Hairspray, with the last film Bynes has starred in being Easy A, almost 10 years ago. Amanda willingly chose to step away from the limelight, during which time she sadly suffered a severe mental breakdown, resulting in her arrest. In 2012, Bynes was charged with driving under the influence, and just 1 year later she was charged with reckless endangerment and marijuana possession after she was found smoking in the lobby of her Manhattan apartment building. She then went on to start a small fire in her neighbor's driveway before being hospitalized under a 72-hour mental health evaluation hold. In 2014, Bynes accused her father of emotional and sexual abuse in a series of tweets before quickly backtracking. Finally, in 2018, Bynes had stated that she had been sober for 4 years with the help of her parents before going on to apologize for her comments on Twitter over the years. I quote, "I'm really ashamed and embarrassed with the things I said. I can't turn back time, but if I could, I would. And I'm so sorry to whoever I hurt and whoever I lied about because it truly eats away at me." I think it's safe to say that we're all incredibly happy that she got help, and I think stepping out of the spotlight is exactly what she needed. Coming in at 5, Frankie Muniz. Frankie Muniz shot to fame when he landed the title role in the TV series Malcolm in the Middle, which ran from 2000 to 2006. In between that time, he went on to star in works such as Agent Cody Banks, Big Fat Liar alongside our previous number, My Dog Skip, and The Fairly Odd Parents. However, gradually over the last few years, Frankie began to disappear from our screens, and that's because he transitioned into racing. Yeah. He raced his cars now. Malcolm in the Middle races cars. He has competed in a series of celebrity and charity tournaments over the years before moving up to more competitive racing in 2007, when he competed in the Champ Car Atlantic Series, where he finished in 9th place, earning $17,000 in prize money. Outside of racing, Frankie has had some personal health issues that have also kept him away from his career. On November 30th, 2012, at the age of 26, Muniz was hospitalized after having a mini stroke, before suffering a second attack just a year later. It was revealed later on that the star had suffered significant memory loss, forgetting he starred in his own shows, including Malcolm in the Middle. Coming in at 4, Freddie Prinze Jr. Freddie Prinze Jr. was the heartthrob of an entire generation, starring in movies like I Know What You Did Last Summer, She's All That, and of course, Scooby-Doo. He was the poster on most teenage girls' walls in the late 90s and early 2000s, but then he just disappeared from Hollywood, with the actor vowing not to return, stating, "It's just too weird." Turns out the heartthrob was pursuing his other passion instead: cooking. As of now, Freddie Prinze is a chef, officially listed as one on his Instagram page. He even launched his own book called Back to the Kitchen that comes with 75 recipes you can try at home. Who knew he was a lover of fine dining? Not me. Coming in at 3, Cameron Diaz. Cameron Diaz was a Hollywood favorite back in the 90s and early 2000s, with the actress starring in films such as There's Something About Mary, Being John Malkovich, Shrek, The Sweetest Thing, and Charlie's Angels. However, the star disappeared back in 2014, with the last film to her name being Annie, released in the same year. In 2018, we finally got our answer though, thanks to Selma Blair, who gave an interview with Metro stating that Cameron had retired and saying, I quote, "She doesn't need to make any more films. She has a pretty great life. I don't know what it would take to bring her back." Blair quickly redacted her comments though, stating she was joking. However, Cameron confirmed the rumour to us when she admitted she had retired in order to spend more time with her husband, with the star feeling like she no longer needed to make films. Coming in at 2, Mara Wilson. Who could possibly forget Matilda, everyone's favourite childhood movie about a young abused girl who discovers she has telekinetic powers. It's simply the best. And a pretty dark movie the more you think about it. Anyway, Mara Wilson was at one point the most popular child actor, also appearing in Mrs. Doubtfire, Miracle on 34th Street, A Simple Wish, and Melrose Place. She was seemingly everywhere during the mid-90s, however between 2000 and 2011 she completely disappeared from the industry. She opted to return to school, attending the Idlewild Arts Academy in California before relocating to New York and continuing her studies at New York University's Tisch School of the Arts, where she graduated in 2009. Wilson has explicitly stated that her acting days are over, aside from making small cameo appearances in shows such as Broad City, and instead she is focusing on writing, with the star even releasing a book back in 2016 called Where Am I Now? True Stories of Girlhood and Accidental Fame. And finally, coming in at number 1, Macaulay Culkin. Aside from our previous number throughout the 90s, Culkin was by far the most popular child actor on the scene, appearing in the smash hits Home Alone, Uncle Buck, The Good Son, and Richie Rich, my personal favourite. He was everywhere, even ranking number 2 on VH1's list of the 100 greatest kid stars. He was also regarded as the most successful child actor since Shirley Temple, and that's quite the feat. However, Culkin took a break from acting in '94 before returning in 2003 with a guest appearance on the TV series Will and Grace. Aside from a handful of cameos though, the star has never made a full return to the industry, and instead spends a lot of his time playing with his pizza-themed comedy rock band, The Pizza Underground, of which he is the lead vocalist, even touring around the country. Culkin is also currently the publisher and COO of a satirical pop culture website and podcast called Bunny Ears, and as it stands, he has no plans to return to acting.
Starting the countdown at number 10 is Danny Lloyd. He became a child star after he took on the iconic role as Danny Torrance in the 1980 movie The Shining. Maybe you've wondered whatever happened to him after he took on that huge role. Turns out he gave up on his acting career quite young and went down a completely different path. He is now a biology professor at a community college in Kentucky. He worked on a farm, he says, to pay his way through university. He's also a dad now to 4 children, so he is living a very busy life of a working father. When the new Dr. Sleep movie came out in 2019, people thought he was going to return to reprise his role since it featured footage and paid tribute to the original story. He decided to sit this one out, but he was very supportive of the new movie and said he knew that they would do a good job with casting regardless. Man, how do you not reprise that role? That would have been so cool! All these years later, you get to take on the most iconic movie. Come on, man. Coming in next, number 9 is Kevin Jonas. He was once a member of one of the biggest heartthrob boy bands in the world, the Jonas Brothers. After their band broke up, his brothers Joe and Nick both went on to have their individual music careers, but he disappeared from the spotlight. He did return for their epic reunion tour last year, which I went to, but what has he been doing all this time and where is he at now? For starters, he is married with 2 kids, 2 little girls who we actually got to see in their tour promo video. And after the band broke up in 2013, he's been very busy with a few different business avenues. One that he has been invested in the most has been his company called Jonas Werner. It is a real estate development and construction company that he established. He is also the co-CEO of a company called The Blue Market, which is a communications company that focuses on social media growth. In spot number 8 is Mara Wilson. At some point in your life, you have probably wondered whatever happened to Matilda. I know I have. The movie is one that people still talk about today, and a scene from the movie even became a viral trend online. People began to dance around and pretend to make objects move, similar to how Matilda did in the movie. So what is the iconic actress up to these days, and where has she been all this time? Turns out she decided to quit the business just a few years after Matilda was released. Along the way, she found a passion for writing, and she started to write her own novels. One of the novels was actually a life update. She titled it, Where Am I Now? True Stories of Girlhood and Accidental Fame. In it, she shared her experience as a young star and what made her decide to quit in the first place. Outside of writing, she lives a very normal, quiet life, which she is okay with. Oh, if they did a Matilda remake, bruh, just hire me. I have the bow and everything. I do look like little Matilda in the movie. You haven't seen?
No, I said I could see that.
Oh, Chris, I thought you just said you haven't seen it. Like the little, when she wears little bows and short brown hair. That was me as a kid. Swiping the number 7 spot is Kirk Cameron. He was once a huge sitcom star after his role on the series Growing Pains. The show began in 1985 and was dominating the television ratings. Kirk joined the cast when he was just 14 years old, and at first he was mesmerized by Hollywood and all the benefits of fame. But then he started to resent it and chose to go down a completely different path. Rather than making audiences roll with laughter, he wanted to bring them to the Lord. That is right, he went from sitcom star to evangelist. He formed an organization with a fellow pastor called The Way of the Master, where they would educate and preach the message of Christianity to non-believers. His most recent job is running a marriage workshop called Living Room Reset, where he uses his spiritual teachings to help couples in need. Ain't that the life change? Moving on to spot number 6, we have Dylan Sprouse. If you don't know who he is one of the twin brothers from the hit Disney Channel show The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. At the height of his career, it was reported that he was making $40,000 per episode, so it was shocking when news broke in 2011 that he and his brother were leaving their roles for good. They both went quiet for a while, and although we see his twin brother in the Netflix series Riverdale, Dylan left acting and pursued a normal career. Turns out that Dylan went to study at NYU and he developed a passion for brewing. So he worked hard and created his own brewery called the All Wise Brewery. Fans only knew about it because in 2013, some of them posted pictures online after they spotted him pouring lattes and serving beer, which would be really cool. I would lose my mind. I was a big fan of that Disney show. Please serve me a latte. How cool would that be? And beer. Halfway through list number 5 is Lo Bosworth. You might remember her from her days on the MTV reality series Laguna Beach and The Hills. She was the ride or die BFF to Lauren Conrad, and fans loved seeing them on their screens every week. But she was one of the original cast members who did not return to the reboot show in 2019 called The Hills New Beginnings. That's because she is too busy working on her career that has no room for reality TV anymore. She started her own women's wellness company back in 2016 called Love Wellness. You can buy everything from vitamins, pH balancing cleansers, and other lifestyle and beauty products. When she was asked why she did not come back for the new show, she said, "When you participate in a show like that, you generally don't have creative control over how you and your character is portrayed on TV. To not be able to be in control of my own narrative is just way too risky for me at this point." You know what? I was really bummed that her and Lauren did not return to the show, but good call. Up next, number 4, we have Frankie Muniz. He was known for being Malcolm on the classic TV series Malcolm in the Middle. The show ran from 2000 to 2006 and is basically basically what put him on the map and made him a household name. He had a wildly successful career, which is why people were stunned when articles started surfacing saying Frankie Muniz trades acting for olive oil. That is right, he and his wife, Paige Price, own an olive oil shop called Outrageous Olive Oils and Vinegars in Old Town Scottsdale. Apparently, if you go, you might actually see him working behind the cash register. The now 34-year-old says, "We had been customers at the store before and we just knew we liked the product and we wanted to do something together. Now it's become our lives." He said he could see himself being a business owner for a while because he found a love for accounting and was interested in running the payroll side to things. Very random. So random. I can't believe that still. Taking over the number 3 spot is Jason Manford. The English comedian, singer, actor, television presenter, and radio presenter gave up all his titles and started to work a regular job. You might still see him popping up here and there once in a while with some things, but he announced to his fans that he got a job as a delivery truck driver. He said that he applied to a company called Tesco but got rejected, so he applied to Iceland Foods instead, the frozen food chain. He posted a photo of himself on his first day and said, "Funny how life turns out. Thanks to the staff at Iceland Foods for being so welcoming today. It was a fun morning delivering to your lovely customers." Definitely not the job most of his fans expected him to apply to when leaving his life of fame, but honestly he seems really happy, and that is all that matters. Rolling into number 2 is Vanilla Ice. He was hot stuff in the 90s. He was top in the charts with his music. His song Ice Ice Baby was his first single to reach the top of the US Billboard charts. He basically skyrocketed into fame at that time, but his music career was very short-lived. He ended up leaving music and turned his focus to jet skiing and motocross racing, but then he went down a dark path filled with drugs and his career started to collapse. He could have gotten back into his career once he got sober, but instead he decided to live a more normal life and is now working as a lighting salesman. He started working for a company called Capital Lighting in Florida, and he designed what he calls Vanilla Ice Lighting, which is a line of different chandeliers. That ad is so weird. There's like this lighting ad and it's just so weird to see Vanilla Ice selling like lights. Moving into the number 1 spot is Jon Gosselin. You would better know him as John and Kate +8. He was on the reality series with his wife and 8 children for over 11 seasons after it premiered back in 2007. But things got bad in their marriage in more recent years and they split up, causing their show to come to an end. So, what did he turn to after his reality stint was done? Stripping! That is right, the father of the famous 8 left Hollywood and went to Atlantic City where he made his debut as a stripper in Caesars Atlantic City. He performs in a show called Untamed Male Revue, which is a burlesque style, and it is said to be a mix of what you see in Magic Mike and Thunder from Down Under. In all fairness though, he might still have some fame, like in the strip clubs, but I don't think his life in Hollywood will ever be the same again. Oh my god, imagine your dad went on to become a stripper. I just thought of that, like the 8 children, like, oh, what's your dad do for a living? Oh man, that's a hard pill to swallow. I do not want to see my dad doing anything from Magic Mike.
Coming in at 10, Rick Moranis. Rick Moranis is an actor from most of our childhood and starred in some of our favorite movies growing up, including Ghostbusters, Little Shop of Horrors, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and of course the Flintstones. However, sadly in 1991, Rick's wife Anne died of cancer, which in turn resulted in Rick taking a hiatus from acting, stating, I quote, "I'm a single parent and I just found that it was too difficult to manage to raise my kids and to do the traveling involved in making movies, so I took a little bit of a break. And the little bit of a break turned into a longer break, and then I found that I really didn't miss it." The former actor even declined a cameo appearance in 2016's Ghostbusters reboot. The actor now states that he hasn't retired from acting and is instead more selective about future roles. Moranis appears every now and then, but you won't find him in any big projects like he used to appear in. Coming in at 9, Lisa Jacob. Lisa Jacob is a former Canadian actor famous for appearing in works such as Mrs. Doubtfire, A Pig's Tale, Independence Day, and A Walk on the Moon. However, in 2001, Lisa retired from acting at the age of 22 and moved to Virginia and married her longtime partner and former Hollywood theatre manager Jeremy Jones in 2005. She has been incredibly transparent about her acting, stating that she has no plans whatsoever to return to the entertainment industry, and instead has become a writer, authoring 2 books, You Look Like That Girl and Not Just Me. Lisa is also a qualified yoga teacher and also writes about her battles with anxiety, depression, and and panic attacks on her online blog. Coming in at 8, Phoebe Cates. Phoebe Cates isn't a name that will ring a bell for you younger viewers out there. I mean, maybe not even for you older viewers. This actress was a star for a short amount of time in the 80s, appearing in classics such as Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Gremlins, and one of my personal favourites, Drop Dead Fred. However, the last film this actress appeared in was back in 2001, 18 years ago. So what happened? Why did she disappear from Hollywood? And why did she give up on fame? Well, the actress married actor Kevin Kline and changed her name to Phoebe Cates Kline before they moved to New York City with their 2 children. In 2005, Phoebe went on to open her own boutique called Blue Tree on New York's Madison Avenue. Coming in at 7, Kris Humphries. Kris Humphries is a former basketball player most notable for playing for New Jersey and Brooklyn Nets, as well as for his hometown team, the Minnesota Timberwolves. However, the star is largely famous for marrying socialite Kim Kardashian, whom he began dating in October 2010 before marrying on August 20th, 2011. However, after just 72 days of marriage, Kim filed for divorce, with many news outlets claiming the relationship was nothing more than a publicity stunt for financial gain and orchestrated by E! Entertainment in order to promote Keeping Up with the Kardashians. On September 25th, 2017, the basketball player signed with the Philadelphia 76ers but was ultimately cut, leading to Humphries' retirement on March 26, 2019. Following his retirement, the star moved back to Minneapolis and started franchising fast casual restaurants. Good for him. Coming in at 6, Nikki Blonsky. Nikki Blonsky shot to fame when she starred alongside Zac Efron, Michelle Pfeiffer, Christopher Walken, and John Travolta in the 2007 musical Hairspray. Most marked it as the beginning of a long career for the newcomer, however it didn't pan out that way. The actress did go on to land a lead role on ABC Family's Huge, however it was cancelled after just 1 season. After the cancellation of the show, the actress went on to be involved in a widely public scandal. In July 2008, when Blonsky and her parents were involved in a violent confrontation with the family of Bianca Golden, a former contestant on America's Next Top Model, at an airport. However, the charges were later dropped. In 2011, Blonsky went back to school and earned herself a cosmetology license and began working part-time as a hairstylist and makeup artist in Great Neck, New York. Coming in at 5, Kal Penn. American actor and comedian Kal Penn had a long and thriving career in Hollywood, with the actor appearing in projects between 1998 and 2018, in works such as Van Wilder, Dude Where's the Party, Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, and Superman Returns. However, in a surprising turn of events, the actor began to transition into politics, starting back in 2007 when he became an advocate for Barack Obama and a member of his National Arts Policy Committee. In 2009, Penn was offered the position of Associate Director of the White House Office of Public Engagement in the Obama administration, which of course he accepted. However, in 2017 he resigned from the President's Committee on the Arts and Humanities in response to President Trump's remarks on the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. Coming in at 4, Ariana Richards. Ariana Richards is a former actor who made her debut all the way back in 1987 in Into the Homeland, a made-for-cable movie. However, her most notable performance is as Lex Murphy in the first Jurassic Park film, as well as Mindy Sterngood in the first Tremors movie. She had quite the career in the 80s and 90s, however, like many child actors, her success didn't last long. Instead, Ariana decided to pursue her true passion, art, and is an incredibly successful artist. Her paintings, usually of landscape and figures, tend to be in the style of the Impressionists. In 2015, she won first place in the National Professional Oil Painting Competition for the painting of Lady of the Dahlias. Coming in at 3, Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman was a highly acclaimed actor back in the day, starring in works such as Bonnie and Clyde, The French Connection, The Poseidon Adventure, and The Conversation, to name a few. However, in the early 2000s, Gene left the acting world behind, during which time he gave a rare interview with Larry King, where he announced that he had no future projects lined up and believed his acting career was over. However, many don't know that Gene is also a critically acclaimed writer, penning 3 historical fiction novels: Wake of the Perdido Star, Justice for None, and Escape from Andersonville. Not only that, but his first solo book came out back in 2011 entitled Playback at Morning Peak. In 2011, the former actor had an interview with GQ in which they asked if he would ever return to acting. I quote, "If I could do it in my house, maybe, without them disturbing anything and just 1 or 2 people. I don't quite see that happening, Gene. Sorry." Coming in at 2, Dylan Sprouse. Try not to confuse him with his incredibly successful twin Cole Sprouse, who stars in CW's smash hit series Riverdale on Netflix. Dylan Sprouse began as an actor starring in Friends with his twin, as well as their show The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody on Disney Channel. However, Dylan didn't quite have the passion for it like his twin and instead attended New York University studying video game design. 1989, before opening a meadery in Williamsburg, Brooklyn in 2018. Mead, if you don't know, is a specialty drink with a base of honey and various fermented ingredients. If you want to check it out, head on over to Brooklyn and say hi to Dylan. It's not doing anything. And finally, coming in at number 1, Danny Lloyd. You may not know his name, but you definitely know who he is. Danny Lloyd, of course, played the popular Danny in The Shining at the young age of 6. He was incredible and had to act out truly horrific scenes while being tricked that he wasn't in fact in a horror film. Well, I guess the experience of the movie was enough to drive him away from the world of acting, because at the age of just 10, he made the decision to retire from the entertainment industry. The former actor went to school and in 2007 became a biology teacher at Elizabethtown Community and Technical College in Kentucky. Lloyd continues to attend conventions to talk about his iconic role, but you won't find him coming out of retirement for any more movie roles.
Starting off our list, number 10 is Danny Lloyd. For decades, people have been wondering whatever happened to the kid from the iconic horror movie The Shining. Like legit, horror fans have actually asked the author, Stephen King, where the kid went. Turns out he left the Hollywood glitz and glam to become a pig farmer and a science teacher. No, this is not a joke. Danny was only 5 years old at the time when he took on the role as Danny Torrance in the 1980 classic and reached fame almost instantly. But he didn't seem to want it. He is now in his 40s and is happily married with 6 children. In 2013, he did his first interview since he was a kid with Daily News, where he opened up about his now normal life. He said that people don't recognize him when he goes out in public, and he loves that. He explained that he did continue acting after The Shining, but ended up giving up when he was a teenager because it was just too difficult. He said, "We kept trying for several years until I was in high school, and I stopped at about 14 with almost no success." Danny says he enjoyed being in the movie, but went on to work at a local Walmart after, and then drove a tractor on a hog farm. Now he is teaching biology at a community college outside of Louisville. Fans were hoping to see him reprise his role for the upcoming sequel, Dr. Sleep, but sadly he is sitting this one out. Coming into number 9 is Mara Wilson. She is best remembered for playing Matilda in the 1996 film titled after her character. Kids were quick to fall in love with her character and the magical powers that came with it. In fact, we are still talking about Matilda to this day. Earlier this year, there was a trending game called the Matilda Challenge, which had people making videos of them dancing around the room and pretending to make objects move. Just like her iconic scene from the movie, which I totally loved. The challenge went viral and Marley even reacted to them.
I'm glad they get it.
Matilda challenge! Oh, Matilda! Matilda!
I love that they know it! I'm amazed that there were several of them who just got it right away without knowing.
But regardless of how fun her character was, Marla would disagree, which is why she quit the business just a few years after the movie brought her fame. In one of her blogs in 2012, she wrote, "Here's something no real celebrity will ever tell you. Film acting is not very fun." Well then, after leaving Hollywood, she went on to live a normal life and found a passion for writing. In 2013, she was asked if she would return to acting, and her response was, "No, I don't think so. I do act sometimes in friends' projects, but when I do, it's just for fun. It is actually a hobby for me now." We haven't seen her on the big screen in a long time, but she continues to work on screenplays and novels. Swiping the number 8 spot is Shirley Temple. She began acting at the young age of 3 and became Hollywood's biggest box office child star in the 30s. I mean, who hasn't heard of Shirley Temple? I'm pretty sure we were all sick of her song "Animal Crackers in My Soup" after singing it every time that we had a bowl of soup as a kid. Or maybe that was just me. By the time she was 12, she starred in 43 movies and tons of commercials. But by the time she was 22 years old, she decided she wanted to retire from acting. She ended up changing her career path entirely and ran for Congress in 1967. She lost, but then 2 years later, she was appointed to represent the US at the United Nations. She then became the US ambassador to Ghana from 1974 to 1976. Who would have thought the Animal Cracker Girl would end up in politics? Sadly, she did pass away in 2014 at the age of 85, but her memory lives on forever. In Hollywood and in politics. Talk about a life full of achievements there. At number 7 is Jeff Cohen. The child star was famously known for his role as Chunk in The Goonies, which is one hell of a classic movie. The movie came out in 1985 and he continued his acting career up until 1991, so if you do the math, that is a total of 6 years. Not very long. He's been asked on numerous occasions why he left the industry. He cracks jokes saying that puberty forced him into early retirement as a child actor. He explains that as he got older, finding work was a lot more difficult. The roles were different and the competition increased, increased as he got more involved in the industry. But once acting was out of the picture, he found a passion for law and attended the University of California, Berkeley, earning a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration. He had no problem leaving the world of Hollywood behind. He ended up becoming a lawyer, and in 2008 he was named one of the top 35 executives under 35 years of age. So he's a successful one at that. He says that acting has benefited his legal career because it makes him more empathetic for his clients and less academic. Basically meaning that he can show more emotions. I feel that. Here we are at number 6 with Kal Penn. She made her on-screen debut when she was 12 years old. She first became popular after taking on the role as Nikki in the Summerland TV series and then later on as Jenny in the 2009 Fame movie remake. She also starred alongside her sister Danielle Penn for a few Disney Channel shows and movies. But throughout her time filming, she was also going through school and trying to do advanced courses. She actually graduated from high school at the age of 13. So she was one smart little cookie, which might be why she decided to leave her acting career and go to school full time. She ended up going to the UCLA and studied zoology. From there, she got her dream job as an animal keeper at Disney's Animal Kingdom. The now 29-year-old has said that she doesn't regret her decision and loves what she's doing now. I mean, that's a pretty sweet gig. Halfway through the list at number 5 is Peter Ostrom. You might remember him as Charlie Bucket from the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory movie back in 1971. He was only 12 years old when he got selected to play the role, and although he enjoyed working on it, he decided not to sign a 3-film contract once the movie was over. He returned home after filming the movie and just never felt the desire to go back and continue to pursue his acting career. He says being at home sparked an interest in horses and he wanted to become a veterinarian one day instead. He ended up going to Cornell University College of Veterinary Medicine in 1984 to receive his certificate. Later on in 2005, he moved to New York with his wife and 2 children, and as of 2018, he works out of the Countryside Veterinarian Clinic. As for acting, he says that he wanted to live a normal life and had declined reporters and interviews for a very long period of time. He explained, saying, "I wanted people to judge me on who I was, not what I'd done." He even said that sometimes in his childhood, he lied and told people that it was his brother in the movie, not him. I wonder how many people actually fell for that and believed him. Next up at number 4 is Ariana Richards. She will forever be remembered for her role as Lex Murphy in the 1993 Jurassic Park. She was only 14 years old when she booked the role. She just so happened to be one of the grandchildren of Jurassic Park's creator. Talk about having some connections. She actually started her acting career 6 years before Jurassic Park, but it was the one role that put her name on the map. Basically, it was her big break. After that, she appeared in multiple movies and also had a cameo appearance in The Lost World Jurassic Park. But she decided that her last on-screen appearance would be in 2001 as she sparked a new interest for painting. She went on to graduate from Skidmore College and she now runs her own art gallery. The artist is now 40 years old and is married to Mark Bolton, who she shares a daughter with. Coming into our number 3 spot is Jake Lloyd. The child star had a good career going after starring in 4 episodes of ER back in 1996, but his breakthrough role was playing Anakin Skywalker in the 1999 Star Wars The Phantom Menace. The 8-year-old had some big shoes to fill at such a young age because we all know how crazy and passionate Star Wars fans are. He had to play this sweet innocent kid but also show a dark side that would be convincing enough for him to grow up to become Darth Vader. After his first Star Wars appearance, he reprised his role as Anakin's voice for 5 video games, but Jake stopped his acting career by the time he was 12 years old. His life took a turn down a dark path and he was arrested in 2015 for reckless driving after a high-speed car chase. He was charged with reckless driving, failure to stop, resisting arrest, and driving without a license. In 2016, TMZ reported that he was transferred from jail to a psychiatric facility after a diagnosis of schizophrenia. When speaking with the Daily Telegraph, he spoke about his Star Wars days, saying that kids bullied him at school because of it, so he ended up destroying any memories he actually had from the filming experience. This one wasn't really a happy ending. In spot number 2 is Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. Twins are a 2-for-1 deal, so they are taking 1 spot on this list. The twins were infants when they stole hearts playing Michelle Tanner on the hit TV series Full House back in 1987. They were 9 years old when the series ended, so basically their entire childhood from birth was on a film set. From there, they started their own brand simply by being the Olsen twins, where they made a collection of Mary-Kate and Ashley movies. I have all of them on DVD. They also had their own TV shows called So Little Time and Two of a Kind, but their last on-screen performance together was back in 2004, where they did their first theatrical release movie, New York Minute. These two were wildly famous. They were actually billionaires by the time that they were teenagers, owning their own clothing line on top of all their film success. But they didn't want that to last forever. They announced in 2012 that they officially retired from acting and now focus on their fashion line called Elizabeth and James. They still remain in the public eye to an extent in the fashion world, but they keep their life very low key. We barely hear or see anything about them anymore. Taking the number 1 place on our list is Macaulay Culkin. Every kid in the world knows him as the kid from Home Alone. He will always hold a place in our hearts for playing Kevin McAllister in those classic Christmas movies. And although he's mainly known for that series, he also appeared in 8 other feature films between the years 1990 to 1994. The kid was a huge star. He went on to make a guest appearance on the NBC sitcom Will and Grace and starred in the movie Party Monster. Many would say his acting career was solid from there on out, but then, which felt like kind of out of nowhere, he quit acting. He wanted to live a normal life and ended up moving to Paris, where he spends most of his time writing, painting, and working on a podcast called Bunny Ears with his friend Matt Cohen. After going MIA for many years, he has now made his way back into the limelight to share his story, but he hasn't really came for all the fame part of it. He's actually thrilled when people don't recognize him or bring up the Home Alone movies. He told The Blast, "I was going to Paris for a little while and I thought people didn't recognize me. But then it was like, no, we recognize you, we just don't care." And I was like, where have you been my whole life? I think we're so used to seeing celebrities in the spotlight that it's hard to believe that some don't actually enjoy it. Starting us off at number 10 is Chloe Couture. Her name is Chloe Feldman, a 22-year-old with millions of subscribers, which she built over 9 years on the platform. She first launched her channel when she was just 14 years old, and since then she has handled it like a full-time job. But in February of this year, she announced that she'd be leaving the platform and focusing on a music career instead. Fans are really confused because it just seemed like kind of sudden, but she said she no longer felt a connection to her videos. 9 years ago, she started her channel because she enjoyed the platform and the connection she felt, but now said, I quote, "I was growing my channel more than I was growing myself." That's some truth. That should be like a quote in a frame. Don't you think? I was growing my social media, but I wasn't growing myself. It's magical. It has been 5 months since her final goodbye video on her channel, and it seems like she hasn't looked back since. Next up at number 9 is Fred. Now the person behind the Fred character is actually Lucas Cruikshank. He created a character named Fred Figglehorn, who was a dysfunctional 6-year-old with a very high-pitched voice. Kinda like that, but not really. He would make different videos in character of Fred, of his life stories, and doing these day-to-day activities. People loved his character, and it even appeared on TV shows like iCarly. But then, in 2014, he decided he wanted to lose the character and start posting videos as himself, Lucas. So he continued with his YouTube channel, but no longer kept Fred. But the following year, in 2015, he walked away from the channel altogether. Fans thought they were going to lose him altogether, but he now lives a more normal life and creates 1 video a week on a new channel called Lucas, where he came out as gay and now vlogs his new life. Up next, number 8 is Smosh. It was one of the biggest comedy channels on YouTube at one point in time, and fans were devastated when the co-founder Anthony Padillo announced that he was leaving. After 11 years of collaborating with his co-creator Ian Heckox, he walked away because it no longer brought him excitement. He said, "When I first started, it was just me being excited about creating things. It wasn't about numbers." He specifically said he wanted to branch off from comedy. After leaving Smosh, he actively pursued an acting career and eventually returned to making YouTube videos, but on his own channel as Anthony Padillo. So even though he walked away from Smosh, people could still enjoy a new side to him as an individual. And spot number 7 is Dave Days. The man behind the channel is Dave Kolditz, who gained fame on YouTube for his comedic pop punk covers and parodies of trending songs in the pop culture. His videos gained so much popularity that he got the attention of Miley Cyrus, who ended up making a cameo appearance in his music video for his song Last Song. But he hasn't posted on his Dave Days channel in 12 years because he left the platform to pursue his own music career. He started using social media to post real cover songs and uploaded his music to streaming services. He also started hosting a free online class called Musician.life, where he teaches amateur artists how to become successful in the music industry. Moving on to number 6, we have Shaytards. They were a popular family vlogging channel before they decided to shut down their channel in 2017. The parents of the family, Colette and Shay Carl Butler, posted a video titled Change, a mostly unedited raw conversation, where they talked about their plans to shut down the channel. They simply said they wanted to live as a normal family and not to do it in front of a worldwide audience anymore. However, some drama was exposed when it was revealed that Shay had an affair with famous cam girl Araya Nina. Text messages were exposed between them, but Shay says that he was baited by Araya into sending the messages. They ended up coming back after a year, still remaining as a family, but then left again 1 year later, and it has been over a year since they posted on their channel. So I think they're goners. Halfway through the list, number 5 is the Toy Channel and Biebers Media. The man behind these channels is Mike Mozart. His channel first became known for doing toy reviews and reactions, different stuff like that. But his Biebers Media channel went silent 10 years ago after he just decided to quit YouTube. The Toy Channel continued for some years after that, but it went silent 3 years later. People online started asking if he was dead, and tons of rumors went around about what happened to him. Then on September 15th, 2015, he made a video titled "Mike Mozart is live and back on the Toy Channel on YouTube reviewing toys. I'm not dead." He explained that he left YouTube and was secretly collaborating with artists throughout the years, and that his artwork made it on a clothing line which was released at Forever 21. He continued to make some live stream videos, which he streamed on YouNow, not YouTube. As for YouTube, he hasn't been on it for years. Cruising into number 4, we have the Nive Nulls. Austin and Brittany Knoll were the popular Christian vlogging couple that won the hearts of many people by sharing their life and family on YouTube. But then Austin got caught cheating twice, which is very Christian-like behavior, by the way. This resulted in the end of their channel and also their marriage. The first cheating scandal happened in 2015 when racy photos and videos were leaked of him communicating, we'll say, with a cam girl. Less than 2 years later, more videos and photos leaked, and he took full responsibility for it and admitted the divorce was his decision. They both went their separate ways, but Brittany was a badass and she rebranded the entire channel and renamed it Brit Space. I checked it out, it has like over 300,000 subscribers, so you go girl. You take that cheating man out of your life and then you make your own channel. I love it. What a happy story. Alright guys, and the third spot is Asina O'Neil. She's a former Instagram model who actually went viral on YouTube for deciding that she didn't want to go viral. That sounds very confusing. I know, I will explain. Not only did she pull the plug on her YouTube channel though, she quit social media altogether. She posted a farewell video titled "Why I Really Am Quitting Social Media," where she explained that she was doing this for her 12-year-old self. She said she was becoming so obsessed with the internet personalities that she felt like she had become one. She went on to expose brands, sponsored posts, product placements, and just influencers in general. But she ended up creating a website called Let's Be Game Changers, which also resulted in her leaving that as well. She then went on to get a job at a local bar and said she wanted to pursue writing full-time. Taking over number 2 is Kev Jumba. His real name is Kevin Wu, and he is one of the most mysterious vanishing acts in YouTube history. He was once one of the biggest channels on YouTube. Back in 2008, his channel had the 3rd most subscribed channel on the platform, and people loved his blogs and music video parodies. But then in 2015, it was reported that he was hit by a car in LA and that he broke his spine and that his lungs collapsed. So his videos went silent for a while, but no one knew what fully happened. Like, was he gonna return? Like, what's going on? Turns out he actually checked himself into a mental health facility because the injuries sent him into a depression. During that time, rumors were spreading like crazy, claiming that he was dead and that he had joined some strange cult. The truth was that he was very much alive, and he actually joined Buddhist organizations that he says were not a cult at all. In the number 1 spot is Jenna Marbles. This one hit the YouTube community recently after she posted an emotional video saying she was leaving her channel behind. It came after people started exposing some of her old content, which came across as problematic. She's been on the platform for over 10 years, and some of her old content involved blackfacing and racist jokes towards Asian people. Things got so intense for her that she decided it was time to leave the YouTube world. In her video, she took full responsibility for her actions and apologized for being insensitive. She said she did not want to hurt anyone and those were never her intentions. We're still not sure if this means she will never come back to YouTube, but like, we are hoping she makes a return when she's ready. She was one of the first YouTubers I ever saw. I'm not even kidding.